moving on to Colin Kaepernick, that whole situation. Um, what I'm gonna start talking about, and we'll probably branch off because that's just what we do, is not even how other people are responding or what that has done for his intentional cause, but what I want to talk about is one of the things that we posted on the page earlier this week. How has this affected viewership in the NFL, viewership of the 49ers, and Kaepernick's personal reputation? I think that there were some reports that people were comparing him to Ray Caruth when it first started, saying he's a traitor, blah, 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 blah. Some governor from somewhere in the Midwest questioning whether or not he was a part of Al-Qaeda. And I think we all know most of that stuff is just false, just trying to basically intimidate him into stopping. And I can't say played through it because he ain't played, but he's continued to stay strong at it. One of the things that we talked about before we went live, I've been watching football since I was a kid. I've been a Redskins fan since I was 5. I can't tell you how many times I've even sat down and watched a game before they did the anthem. So it's crazy to me that now we have headlines about it. We have articles about who's going to do what protest, who's supposed to do what protest, what kind of protests we think are good. And then on the bottom line of ESPN, and y'all know I'm done with ESPN, but like the bottom line of ESPN saying such and such players took a knee before the Dolphins game this week, such and such player threw their fist up for the Eagles. It's the anthem. Like, I've never once sat there and watched the anthem to see what anybody's doing. Half the time, if it does come on TV, I'm not looking at the TV. I'm looking down at my phone or talking to whoever I'm playing with. I'm not standing for the anthem. Let's just get that out of the way. I'm sitting on my couch watching. And even if I do, I can't look up and see. I'm not going to look up and see who's doing what, who has what kind of response. And I'm not going to judge somebody's patriotism or how much they care about their country based off of whether or not they're standing, sitting, kneeling, crouching, holding the fist up, laying down on a blanket, hiding behind somebody for the anthem. Like, it's a football game. So for me, if we were going to try to draw a correlation between the NFL's viewership and the fact that it's declined this season and these protests, that shows me more than anything that the people who aren't watching don't care about football. And my question for that is, how much does their viewership really matter? If the people that watch football, love football, care about football are the ones that are spending money on football, if the casual fan is turned off by a couple people kneeling for the NFL, they're not the ones spending money. I can tell you right now, if you spend, $260 on the Sunday ticket, the DirecTV package, I'm going to watch the damn game. Whether this cat is kneeling, hiding behind a bench, sitting on somebody's shoulder, I'm going to watch the game because I just spent $260 on it. So the people that aren't watching it aren't spending any money. I can't imagine that the NFL is losing money right now because viewership is lower. Obviously, it hurts the incentive for advertisers to want to spend money for them, but the reality is at this point, the NFL is the NFL. We talked about the chokehold they have on their market right now anyway. So unless this will be that time, and I won't get too much into this, but this will be that time for another league to try to come in and try to steal some of that. But we know that even that's not going to work. So what's happening right now, the viewership, Colin Kaepernick, none of this, to me, changing what the sport is. And anybody who is emotionally hurt by it doesn't care about the sport.
I don't know if I agree with that, because if you're watching the national anthem in the first place, I don't think people are just watching it for the patriotism aspect of it. And one thing I'll point out is that the people who have come out and pretended to be patriots aren't. Because if you were all about the country and the flag, you would understand what Kaepernick is doing. Mm-hmm. And they clearly aren't understanding what he's doing, because I haven't heard the people who have been fussing at him about kneeling and the people who are fussing at him about kneeling, I haven't heard anybody come out and say anything about why he's actually kneeling. They were just focused on the fact that he's kneeling. And again, it's unfortunate that he had to fall on the sword for us as Black people. But, you know, I applaud him, what he's doing. He's bringing awareness to it. You know, he's speaking on things, giving his money. He's definitely put a face to the cause, and I'm with him 100%. You know, he spoke on Terrence Crutcher, who was just killed, unfortunately, by the cop. He didn't do anything, had his hands in the air, clearly not a threat to anybody, and then he got shot and he killed. The same people, Jerry Rice, Ray Lewis, Trent Dilfer, you know, those people were saying that he shouldn't disrespect the flag and all of these things, but there's no outrage towards them, but you outrage him because he's trying to make a point about the injustice and that's what I mean. Like, they completely missed the point. They don't see the injustice because they don't have to live with the injustice. They don't have to see it. Their lives are above ours in the sense that they're sheltered from a lot of that for various reasons. So they're not going to understand it. I guess what I'm saying is that as far as the Colin Kaepernick and the Star Spangled Banner national anthem thing, like, remember, like, they didn't have to do that until 2009. I mean, and I'm sure everybody knows that now. They didn't even have to do it until 2009 when they were paid to do it. So all this fake patriotism and fake outrage about him getting on his knees is a bunch of bullshit. Like, I mean, again, I'm not a big patriot. I love the military. I respect the military, anybody who served for our country and all of that. So if you're watching or listening, I absolutely support y'all and what y'all do. But from a personal standpoint, I couldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I don't like listening to people. I don't like people yelling at me. So I wouldn't do it.
Way to sum it up.
Yeah, I would have a real problem with that. But I absolutely support what they do. My thing is at what point, and by the way, and I put it in a group, shout out to Jerry York, the owner, too. He's putting his money behind Cap. He's donating $1 million to back Cap and what he's doing. So shout out to him too. I just feel like, man, this whole Colin Kaepernick thing with all these prognosticators and people talking, you know, it just gets on my nerves, man. And at some point, like, I understand they don't live the lives we lead and we're sheltered, but how can you not be outraged, even as an athlete, even as somebody that's well away from that? How can you not be upset about a dude, a Black man coming from class, getting killed because they felt he was a threat? He called the cops, or anybody. It could be Eric Garner, it could be Alton Sterling, it could be Philando Castle. And this is what Colin Kaepernick is standing up for. I understand everybody's not going to have the same perspective as me. Y'all know I used to just go away from that aspect of it, but that Alton Sterling thing changed it for me. So I understand people are not going to have the same viewpoint as me, but how can you look down on another man? And he's away from that too. I don't think he has to deal with that on a daily basis, but how can you talk down on him and tell him don't respect the flag when this is his way of protesting? I don't understand that. That's the thing that bothers me. You know what I mean? Like, Jared Rice is like, all lives matter. Yes, all lives do matter, but that's just a way to combat the Black Lives Matter. I don't like it, man. Like, I just wish that we could all be on the same page, man. I'm with Cap. Wrong hand. I'm with Cap 100%. 100%, man. I know he'll never watch it. We should tweet him. Colin Kaepernick, I'm with you, brother, all day long.
I think it's really interesting to me when you start talking about how many, and I'm not going to go too long, P. I want you to get in there, but I think it's really interesting when you talk about one thing that no one's talked about, which I've been really surprised by. Rodney Harrison, when it first happened, he made a comment about Colin Kaepernick not being Black, so he doesn't have the right to feel the way he does. That bothered me on a couple different levels. First off, Colin Kaepernick is Black, so it was inaccurate. But second off, let's just say Colin Kaepernick wasn't Black. Let's just say he's a white kid that tans very well and can grow afro. He's one of like 8 white people on the planet that can do that.
He has to be Jewish.
Right.
I'll be
Right.
racist. They can grow froze.
So let's just say Kaepernick is a Jewish last name. Colin Kaepernick is is a white Jewish dude, and he recognizes what's happening and feels so moved by the injustice that he has to do something. Doesn't that mean more as opposed
It
to less?
should. That's what I mean. It should. It absolutely should. That would mean much. I mean, I'm not gonna say much more, but that would mean more to me that a white man who sees the injustice that black people have to deal with, and he spoke up on it. But then Rodney Harrison, dumbass, you can tweet him too. We could tweet him too. P is gonna say that. Come on, man. Like, I just don't understand. Like, what Chris Long, I posted the article and it was from a week ago. And P, you can go ahead and get in whenever. Chris Long was like, I don't think it's an issue to acknowledge that as a white man, I benefit from privilege that black people and other minority races don't deal with. And that was real. And I respect him for that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? His thing won't the flag. And I respect that. Everybody has people hold the flag in high regard. I don't care. I'm certainly not gonna burn the flag, but you know, whatever. Him for saying that was his way of acknowledging that there's white privilege, and I respect him for that 100%.
I think there's basically, this is a weird topic because it brings up almost three different views. You have those who agree with Kaepernick that he has the right to do what he's doing, or they agree that, okay, we're with you. It's a social issue. It's a racism thing. Then you have those who disagree, and the people who disagree are for different reasons as well. Some people are saying, well, he's not being patriotic. You got people saying that he's not black. And then you even have people just trying to attack his character and saying that, like, he's not doing what an athlete should do. So there's a lot of different ways to go about the disagreement. And then you have, like you said, it's Chris Long, right? Or was it Jake Long? I get
those Chris Long. Confused.
It was Chris Long? Okay. Then you have people like Chris Long who are like, well, I'm going to take a non-stance about it, kind of like how what Russell Wilson was trying to do. And say that I'm not going to put myself on either side of the fence. And I think the fact that there's three sides to this one issue should raise the cause of everyone to think this must be an important issue, that everyone has an opinion on it. It's not one of those things that a lot of people are sitting in that middle group like, well, I'm going to stay out of it. People are voicing how they feel. Some people are trying to be politically correct. Some people are taking it as, well, now I need to be more involved. My personal view, when I first heard about it, I honestly thought no one is going to be talking about this in a couple of weeks, because I honestly felt like, okay, he took a knee in protest. That's something he did. He wasn't organizing a group. Obviously, it's just his personal beliefs. And I was like, I feel him exercising his right to protest. But I also thought that no one would care. And that's where I was wrong, because the media took it and ran with it. And initially, there was nothing but negative press. All he had was negative press about him not being patriotic, him taking a social stance during his job, and he shouldn't be able to do that, et cetera, et cetera. And within maybe 2-3 weeks tops, added with what was already going on in the United States, it took a life of its own. That's when other players started protesting. People were talking about it every day. I live in Finland, okay? This country, there's not a lot of this color skin. My wife is Finnish, which means she's white in America. They don't understand at all what's going on in the States. Yet my wife is talking to me every other day about, why are people constantly talking about a guy kneeling during a sports event? What does that even mean? And I'm not trying to put out that, okay, she knows what's going on, even though she actually does. But my point is, it's that widespread that people in the world are looking at America like, what is going on? And that's the view. The problem is that we have a race issue. That's a given. We know it. Some people are trying to bring awareness to it. Some people are trying to ignore it. Some people are trying to stay out of it. Those are the three different factions you have. And the world is looking at us like, y'all are the dumbest mother effers we've ever seen. Only because we are one of the very few countries who are divided by something so trivial as race.
I don't know.
And the thing is, we are not doing anything as a country, as citizens of America. I don't even live in the country right now, but I am still a citizen of America. We are not doing anything to better our situation. We are focusing on things that have nothing to do with it. This guy is making social change playing a sport, using a ball. He's using that as a platform to make social change in this country. The sad part about it is that works in America. Mm-hmm. Take your ass to Brazil and tell Neymar Jr. to stand up about the economy in Brazil. I promise you, nobody in Brazil will give a damn about what he thinks, because that's the place sports live there. But there in the United States, sports can be a platform for social change and all different types of causes. And I feel humbled that we're in a country where that's the type of privilege we have, is that someone throwing a ball can create change, can start a conversation. Now, how about we evolve? And I know in this, I didn't say what side I'm on. I don't want to sound like a hypocrite. I'm pro Kaepernick. Goddamn it, we got a problem, and I'm right fist too, man. I don't want to sound like I'm trying to sit Chris Long. I'm with it. Fuck it, I'm with it. Go ahead, yeah.
So I have a couple of thoughts. I wanted to respond to one thing that you said. I had a similar thought when the first protest happened. I honestly feel like, not to say he wouldn't still be doing it, but it would be a non-issue now if the news didn't cover it. I don't think other teams would got involved. I don't know if other players would got involved. If Colin Kaepernick did his thing, he does his initial protest, and everybody's like, cool. He'd still be doing it, probably. He'd probably still be doing it, but you wouldn't have the backlash, you wouldn't have the coverage, you wouldn't have the issue that you have right now. I think in trying to vilify him and through that try to influence him to stop it, like you said, Turner, he became a martyr for it, but it also brought more light to him. Obviously, it hasn't all been good because it has taken, in my opinion, it's taken away some from the issue. When Megan Rapinoe took a kneel, the thing, and I haven't read the whole quote, so I can't say this for a fact, but what I took from what I did read is that she gave a nod to Colin Kaepernick and not a nod to the issue. And that bothers me. Regardless of what your view on the issue is, I don't care what side you are, that has to bother you at least some if you have some investment in it. I don't want to talk about I stand with Colin Kaepernick. I don't give a damn about Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick's a backup quarterback in the 49ers. I couldn't care less about Colin Kaepernick. As a human being, he, I'm sure, is a great person. I think, is the best quarterback on that team. But as it stands, I'm a Washington Redskins fan. I don't care about Colin Kaepernick. I care about the issue. So I don't like seeing people say, stand with Kaepernick, or Kaepernick should do this. What he does doesn't change what the problem is. And I think that in trying to make him go away, which is what I think the media was trying to do, they actually brought more attention to it. One of the things that I think has been lost in this, because of that very reason, the fact they're trying to get rid of him, is the fact that he has spoken out throughout the summer, even some out last year, towards the end of the year when this stuff was happening. He spoke out. No one paid him any attention. So now you've got a guy who feels like, I want to make my voice heard. I have used social media, which is how many athletes now go to get their voices heard, especially when they're not in season, and everybody brushed me off. So now I'm going to do something that gets everybody's attention. And that's exactly what he did. Was it the best way to do it? Who knows? Did it work? Obviously. And my second thought to that was, I don't understand, and maybe y'all can explain it to me, where the correlation came between standing up, saluting, pledging, bowing, sitting, turning your back to the flag during the anthem, and having respect for the military. I don't understand why it is all of a sudden people keep wanting to say Colin Kaepernick doesn't respect our soldiers. How many people have actually joined the military to protect a flag?
I think
like if you're going to another country, putting your life on the line so somebody can just look at a flag, you got problems.
I think that part has a lot to do with pushing an agenda. Like what
that's
you said.
actually a straw man. Yeah, that's the straw man. That's actually not what the real issue is, but they create that to okay. Go ahead, P. I just wanted to.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying. Was that I think that someone it's kind of like someone starting a rumor type thing.
Yeah,
like, originally they wanted to, like you said, they wanted to make him out to be the villain. Okay, that didn't work. People actually started supporting him. Well, the real reason he's doing it is because he doesn't like the military. So they're still trying to villainize him, and they like what we've been saying is they changed the topic. It's not about what he's actually taking a knee for anymore. People will tell you they know about this football player and all these teams taking knees during the anthem. Do they know why? No. And that's the point.
Right.
The fact that as a country we're doing something, there's a movement, and half the people in the movement don't even know why they're doing it. And that's the difference between what he did and what civil rights leaders of the past have done. In the past, those civil rights leaders, there was an issue, and that's what they did. What Colin Kaepernick is doing is trying to bring awareness to the issue.
Right.
There still are no leaders who are actually bringing the issue to the forefront of the country. So what we're doing right now is we're hiding behind a smokescreen. They're talking about patriotism when that's not the issue. Yet that's all you hear about is the flag, military, patriotism. Those are the three words you hear all the time. And of course, taking a knee. But is that really the issue? No.
But in Cap's defense, though, thank you. In Cap's defense, he's stated many times what the issue was and what he wanted to get and what he wanted to get solved with this. Really, it's the media that's putting all this other stuff on it, the patriotism and disrespecting the military. And I think what really shot that down was when Nate Boyer, he used to play for the Seahawks. He was a Green Beret, and they met and they talked.
He's on the Patriots, isn't he?
Is he? I don't know if he's playing now.
I think he's on the Patriots.
Okay. Well, he was a former Green Beret or is a Green Beret. And it was like, well, I'm with you. This is not disrespectful to the military, but you should do it this way. At least kneel. And then Colin was like, okay, I can get with that. It has since been kneeling. And when you had that one person who was famous, well, he's more famous than we are. But when he was famous, he's known, and he spoke out on it. And then people was like, okay, let me open my mind some more. Maybe it's not actually disrespectful to the military. He's just trying to get his point across about the injustice towards Black people in America. And I think that was really a landmark moment in this entire movement, because then the people couldn't just come out and say he was disrespecting the military anymore, because then after him, other people in the military started coming out and speaking out and saying, yeah, we're not doing this. I mean, it's not even about the flag. We fought so then you can do that.
Right.
Yeah. I think another issue with that is kind of like just kind of tying it into like the whole Black Lives Matter versus All Lives Matter scenario is that we have a common cultural issue that when people see something, they interpret what it doesn't mean. As in, okay, he's taking a knee during the anthem. Why is he taking a knee? Because there's social injustices in this country. Well, I see him taking a knee, and I take it as disrespect to the flag. So what I'm going to do is respond to what I interpret him doing. Right. And that's similar to how, okay, you say Black Lives Matter, but I believe that all lives matter. I'm not focusing on the issue that you're bringing. What I'm doing is interpreting it to my understanding. And that's where we have the divide. I don't know exactly how to get over the divide, but I know that it's there. And that is more of an issue than what the actual issue is that people are arguing over something that was never the issue.
Right.
But again, that's the straw man, and that's to distract us from what the real topic at hand.